overthinking has kept more seeds in my hand than I've actually planted in
Um,
the ground. If the devil can't get you to stop being productive, stop using your gift, stop walking in your calling, well, maybe he could just get you to second guess it. Because if he can get you to second guess everything that you do, essentially you'll be ineffective. If the Lord told me to say it, as long as I say it, I did what I was supposed to do. At the end of the day, I still did what the Lord told me to do. So I was still walking in obedience. So I can still have peace with that.
First of all, man, I gotta give you your flowers, bro, because even though it's only been what, not even a full 2 years, I don't think, since we've met, man. I remember when I discovered you. I think it was just on a playlist. Like I listened to like a worship playlist, and you were on there, and it was Jesus, the song Jesus that you have.
Okay.
There's a
Yeah.
friend you can always call. I never
Yeah.
forget, bro. And your voice was so catchy, so smooth. It reminded me of like early Chris Brown.
Mhm.
That
A lot of
I was
people
like,
say that.
yeah, yeah, for sure, and I was like, "Man, I gotta reach out to him," and then I found you, and, we connected, and, your holy name, even though it came out later, was
Mhm.
literally the 2nd beat that I had got from C. Walker,
Oh,
um,
okay. That's crazy.
ever, and so
Wow.
when I came to CHH, I got God's Hands, as a new beat, I got God's Hands, put that out. Then the 2nd beat was Your Holy Name, and that song right there has been through the ringer. There's a
Yeah.
testimony in that song itself, but
Yeah.
obviously without you, none of it would have happened, bro. So I
Nah, I
appreciate
appreciate
you
that.
for that, bro.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely whenever an underrated artist argument comes up, I bring your name up every single time, bro. I
Well,
don't
thank you. Thank you.
like, I really feel like you haven't got the credits that you deserve, just from not even from just your voice, man, but from a creative standpoint. All your music, man, the videos are great. All the content that you drop is dope. But yeah, man, I just want to shine light on that, bro. If y'all haven't, go right now, cut this video, pause it, go check out his music, go check out his videos, and
Thank
then
you.
come back and watch the rest of this, because
Thank you.
I promise you
Nah,
will
I
not be
appreciated
sorry.
that. Thank you,
Absolutely,
bro. Yeah,
for sure.
it's crazy because when you sent me your holy name, it was kinda new territory for me. Especially because I like you said, I know we're gonna get into it, but singing is already one thing that's, like, new to me as far as,
That's
like,
crazy, bro.
publicly.
Yeah.
But then doing, like, a worship style song, that was something that I was like, "Okay, this is something I wanna get into," but it was new to me. Like, if you listen to my catalog, a lot of it is either hip hop or R&B. So that to me was also new, and the experience was amazing. Like, I could feel it when we recorded that song, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why when you said, like, you had a big vision for the song. I'm like, yo, I could see the vision, like I feel it, you know. And part of me feels like that's the reason why it was so much difficulty around getting that song out. But that's another story. We can save that for another time if you want
Absolutely, bro.
to.
What so you started off as a rapper,
Yeah.
and Mike Teasy, we were talking on a previous episode. He was the same way, just rapping. He said his family was full of singers, and he could sing, but they could sing. They could
Yes.
sing, and he could
Yeah.
sing. What was it like for you? Like, how did you overcome that and say, okay, I'm gonna try this singing thing. I know I can do it if I put my mind to it. Or how did you go over the fear of that and put your all
Okay.
into singing?
So this is a funny story. I don't think I've ever told anybody this story publicly, but I actually started off singing. So it's kind of it's a long story, but to make a long
Yeah,
story short, when I was a kid, I come from a very musical family. So just like you said, like Mike Teasy, I feel like me and Mike Teasy got a lot in common. I come
yeah.
from a very musical family. My dad and my uncles were singers, and my dad's uncles were singers. So it's like everybody in my family when I was a kid could sang, like they not just sing, like they could really go there. And for me, when I was, I want to say 7 years old, my dad would have me and my sisters singing harmonies in the living room, like just randomly. This is what we would do. We would sing, they would come up with a song, and we would all sing harmonies. Now I'm from Southwest Philly. So I grew up in a neighborhood where at the time you had to be careful about the way that you were perceived. At least this is the way that I thought of it as a kid. And for whatever reason, my 8 or 9 year old self felt like I can't let people know that I'm a singer because
Uh,
dude's gonna think that I'm soft and like you're not gonna try to, you feel me?
oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
it was dumb. I don't know why I felt that way, but like I said, as a kid, I felt like dudes would think I was soft if they knew that I could sing. So I'm like, I'm not gonna sing no more. I'm gonna rap. And this is me at
Mm,
like 8 years old. So like it sounds
it's
really silly
crazy.
now.
Yeah.
But that's actually what made me start rapping. I started rapping because I didn't want to be perceived as soft. And I became a fan of like 50 Cent was my favorite rapper when I was like 9 or 10.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I got into hip hop and it became a way for me to tell my story and it became emotion and an emotional outlet. You know what I mean? But originally, I actually came from a family of singers, and I felt like I could sing. It was just something that I guess I was afraid of, like going down that path, if it makes sense. You know?
No, it does, and I was the opposite, bro. I could never sing, ever. But I fell in love with, like, 90s R&B, like and I fell in love with it late too, like, probably when I got in high school or maybe right before. I was like, "Man, I just love that sound,"
Yeah.
obviously the music, and I was like, "Man, if I could sing." I have a song that I've written, and maybe it'll come out pretty
Mhm.
soon. I haven't recorded it yet, I don't know how it's gonna do, but it's called "If I Could Sing," and it's
Mhm.
gonna be me actually attempting to sing, like, with autotune, obviously, and
Mhm.
it's like, "If I could sing for you, then I would praise you."
That's
Like,
fire.
that's the premise of it, like, I know I can't sing, but if I could,
Yeah,
then I would do it for your glory.
that's fire.
But I've always envied singers, bro, because obviously you see I gravitate towards, like, that type of music, like the Your Holy Names, the worship views that I did with Teezy as well. Even when I was doing secular music, bro, I would just go get a singer, and I had a lot of friends who could sing, and I would either write the hook, like, word for word
Mhm.
and attempt to sing it to him and be like, "Here you go, try this,"
Yeah.
or we would work on it together, or I would just come up with a dope concept, like, kinda like we did, and, let you do your thing, and I trust the singer to do that too. And I was telling Teezy whenever I went to Atlanta my first feature ever was Sammy in Atlanta, and,
Okay.
I got a whole new perspective on the way singers record
Oh
because
my goodness. Yeah.
it went from, okay, main take, stack, ad lib done
Oh my goodness. You don't
to
even.
layer
Yes.
upon
Yes.
layer upon layer of one punch in, like, he punched in, then did layer. It was like 60 tracks when I got the stems back, it was insane, and
Yeah.
that was my first feature, so I had never seen anything like it. So I appreciate what goes into a lot of vocals, even harmonies, like, that you do. I know a lot of people don't know what goes into that, but it's like, now that I've seen it, I understand what goes into that.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
I
a
can
lot.
tell you that was probably the biggest change for me, because I also engineer my own music, and
Man,
when I started singing, it would go from maybe 5 tracks for a song to almost 60, and it sounds crazy, but
thank
you
you.
might have if you got just a regular song, you got 2 verses, 2 choruses, and a bridge. It's
Yeah,
like the amount of harmonies that you as a singer would add to each the amount of layers, the amount of it's a lot.
yeah,
So I think people who grew up on that type of music appreciate that. Cause like for
yeah,
me, my favorite I want to say my favorite female vocalist is Brandy. And
okay.
because of that, I have a deep appreciation for harmonies and layers. Cause that's just something that I feel like I listen to the background vocals more than I listen to the main vocals sometimes. So that's something that is big to me when it comes to music. And just like you said, when I was growing up, I used to envy singers because I came
Mhm.
from a family where everybody could sing, and I always felt like in my family, I didn't have the strongest voice. Out of everybody, I felt like I had the weakest voice. So my older sister, she went to high school performing arts. So like she can really, really sing and she has extreme control over her voice. I'm like, how do you do that?
Right.
So I always admired that, but it wasn't until I was probably 15 or 16 where I felt comfortable actually like exploring that and seeing where I could go with my voice and how strong I could make my voice. But I definitely feel you on that though, because I want to say that's the biggest difference between recording a song where you're singing and recording where you're rapping. It is definitely a big difference.
No, for sure. I always say all the time, if I could sing, I wouldn't rap at all. Like, I would sing. Plus, I would have saved a lot of money. I would have saved a lot of work. I would have done everything myself. But first, I love R&B. I love the collaboration like that, the singer rapper combination.
Mhm.
Um, I said before, like growing up, I listened to a lot of Bow Wow and Fabulous, like when they had the, rapper, singer,
Yeah. Yep.
you had your Ja Rule, you had your your
Mhm.
LL Cool J's, like, stuff like that, man, where you had like the R&B mixed with the rap. That's kinda what I gravitated towards early. Then it became like strictly R&B to where to point I was rapping, but I didn't even listen to rap. Like,
Yo,
so
I'm the same way.
I didn't even listen to rap, so
I'm
I
the
wasn't
same
keeping up
way.
with trends, like, I wasn't
Yeah.
keeping up with trends, like, when in the early 2000 or early 2010, 11 era, whenever all that dancing music was hot, like, I wasn't doing that. I
Right.
was just sticking to what I knew, and, like, even, like, now, you tell me a rapper, I'm like,
Yeah, who is that? I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Well, this is a side note, but I do wanna say this while it's on my mind. If you wanna record that song, where you're talking about if you're gonna sing, I
Mhm.
got Melodyne, we can make it work, I'll help you with the song, okay? I just wanna put that out there. I would definitely help you put that song together because the
I
concept is
think
fire.
I think it's just the confidence of doing it, like,
Yeah.
doing it if someone's there, like, even if C Walker's there, like, I know he gonna push me through it, like, I know he
Yeah.
gonna push me through it,
Yeah.
but, yeah, it's just doing it, man. I've had that concept for a while, and I have the beat and everything ready, I just gotta do it, man. I just gotta do it, and I haven't done a song all year, bro. Like, I haven't dropped a song all year,
What you
um
waiting on?
I know, it's been a busy year. This was step 1,
Yeah.
so I
No,
got
I
step
give you
1
that.
out the way.
I give you that, yeah.
We're here now, we're doing this. I've done, I think, 6. This will be number 6 now.
Mhm.
Starting to release We're gonna start releasing those at the end of the month. So yeah, man, it's just been a crazy year, bro. Busy, busy, man, with the
Yeah.
kids and sports and all this stuff, man. No excuse, but, still
No, but I
ministering.
feel you. Yeah,
Yeah, still
but I
ministering,
feel you.
still doing things, just not on camera and behind the scenes, but obviously with everything going on right now in our space, I'm kinda glad that I'm just kinda sitting back and waiting my turn, man, because
Yeah.
it's a lot, so I'm just
Yeah.
kinda I'm just waiting for the right time, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. I'm just kinda waiting for the right time to start focusing on that, but I've been, just focusing on my own relationship with Christ, man, just
Mhm.
focusing back 'cause, when you have so much going on, man, you kinda lose that focus, and we've talked about it before too,
Yeah.
where, you got your music, you got your podcast, you got your kids, you got whatever else, jobs and all the other stuff in the world, and then you forget the prayer life, you forget your own ministry at home, and
Right.
so, like, that's what I had to get back to. That's what Stay Focused even came from, man, because I would lose that focus, like, years ago, and it's still I mean, it's never gonna change, like, you're always gonna have things come in your life, and you just can't let them get in the way of the most important thing, which is your own relationship with God, so that's kinda what happened, really,
Yeah.
this year, just had to focus on that. Yeah.
No, but I feel you on that because I think that that's one of the most difficult things that Christian artists deal with is the fact that we can get so busy and get caught up in the things that we're doing and the things that we're producing for God that we actually end up in a situation where we're missing out on our time with God. And it's like it that I feel like that happens to a lot of artists as they get bigger. That definitely happened to me on my first and second album, where it's like
Mm,
the more you do for ministry. It's like you're serving God and you're walking in your purpose. But then when that takes so much of your focus that it almost becomes like an idol to you. In a
exactly,
way,
yes,
essentially, it defeats the purpose for you. Where it's like you're
yes,
feeding other people, but you need to be spiritually fed yourself, and you need to be plugged into the source yourself. Especially because it don't really make sense that we out here preaching the gospel, but our connection to God and our walk with Christ ain't that strong ourselves. I don't think we should do that. So I commend you for stepping back in that situation because if anything, you'll come back stronger when the time
yes.
is right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I heard someone say it, or maybe it was a post that I saw, you can't pour into others if your cup is empty. So I had to
Yes.
get I had to fill my cup back up first before I can start pouring into others. Because we like to give, 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 and do, 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 but sometimes God just wants us to chill and relax
Right.
and focus on Him, take a
Yeah.
Sabbath, or, take a Sabbath day and really focus
Yeah.
on Him, getting that word, man, and that's what I have to do, and I have to
Yeah.
tell myself all the time, man, and it's hard because it's like if you set a ti like, if I set a time, some comes up around that time, like, "Okay, I'll do that later," and then you never do. So,
Yeah.
it's like, you just
Yeah.
gotta make time, bro. Make time for God, whether it's in the morning before bed, in your
Mhm.
car, at work, wherever it is, man. But man, I remember watching your testimony video, and I remember something you said that stuck with me because it hit me too. We're very relatable, I already know. But
Mm.
you said you never shared your testimony because you didn't feel like it was big enough, or you didn't feel like it
Yeah.
mattered enough. And I was
Yeah.
like, bro, if that ain't me, bro, because like I haven't made a testimony video yet, and people always ask me like,
Mhm.
"You don't have a testimony?" I'm like, "Nah," like, I share bits and pieces,
Yeah.
but I struggled with that too because I had a great, great upbringing. I didn't struggle,
Mhm.
until, like, my very end of high school is when depression kinda hit for me, and then all that happened, and then obviously losing my dad and stuff, but going to that, man, what made you finally say, "Okay, Imma share my testimony, it does matter, it can help
Mhm.
somebody, so let me do this."
Yeah, so, I didn't grow up in church.
Yeah.
I went to church maybe a handful of times as a kid, and it was kinda more so like, my grandmother went to church, so my dad
Yeah.
played the drums, and every so often, he would take us to church when he was playing the drums, but that was really the extent of it. So my relationship with God didn't come until I got much older. And something that I noticed when the times that I did go to church were people would have these really strong emotional testimonies, and they would
Mm.
talk about these really huge miracles and things that happened in their life that brought them to God. And so, because I've seen that so many times, I just made the connection in my mind that your testimony that brings you to Christ is supposed to be this big extreme thing, and it's supposed to be some type of miracle. Somebody's supposed to get healed. I don't know what, but it's just supposed to be big because that's what I've seen so many times.
Right,
And
right.
my testimony just wasn't like that. Mine was more so gradual, where I felt God calling me for a long time, and I could hear His voice, and He gave me visions, and I could see Him, and
Yes.
He would tell me to do and not to do things, and I didn't know why. And I just feel like over time, my relationship with God got stronger and stronger to the point where I couldn't run from Him anymore. And just like you said, after high school, I dealt with a huge identity crisis, and
Mm.
I was dealing with extreme depression. And that was the time where God came into my life and basically, told me, the path. Look, this is the path that you're going on. You see where it's going. It's not going anywhere good, but I can take those burdens from you. The word says, come to me, all you who are burdened and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And to me, that sounded like exactly what I needed at the time. So I don't want to downplay it by saying like, and that was it, because like it's obviously much deeper than that. But like it wasn't some type of extreme explosive thing where I could tell people, when I broke my leg and then I was healed the next day. It just wasn't
Right,
like
right,
that.
right, right.
So to me, I felt like because of that, be my testimony didn't really seem like all of the amazing testimonies that I heard. So I wouldn't say I was afraid to share it. It just, to me, it felt like if I share this, people gonna be like, okay. Like I don't really know. So I felt uncomfortable about that. But one day I was sharing some things online when I got into ministry on Facebook, and an older gentleman had commented on my video, and he was just saying like, all of the miracles and everything is cool, but the real miracle is you. The fact that you used to be a completely different person, walking
Yep.
on a dark path, on a highway to hell, so to speak. And now God has changed your heart and made you a completely different person and changed your desires. Like that's the miracle. And when he said that, I was like, I was stuck for a while off that. Like, I'm like, if you think about it, the fact that a person becomes a new creation in Christ and they don't walk in the way that they used to and they become a completely different person, you sometimes you can see it on people. Like they even look different,
Yes.
that's a miracle in and of itself, and
Absolutely.
we don't talk about that. So that
Mm.
is what encouraged me to share my testimony, the feeling that right there. You know what I mean?
For sure, and I hear it all the time on here because, everybody's story is different. Everybody has a different path or a different story to how they encountered God or whatever it may be, and you can see the excitement, man, that they have, and you can see, like, when they're telling their story, it's almost like a disappointment that they used to be that person, but at the same
Yeah.
time, they're excited that they're not anymore. It's
Right.
like if I were to talk about my past, I'd be, like, so ashamed of my old self, but at the same time, it didn't go in vain because I'm where I'm at now because of that.
Mhm.
So, like, there's a lot of things that I used to have a lot of regrets about that I don't anymore because had I not been through those situations, I wouldn't have the mindset or the heart that I do now.
Right.
And so, like, yeah, I was the same way, bro. Like, I just didn't have this incredible story to tell. It's like I don't really feel like I have a testimony. And then similar to you, like the more I watched and the more I heard people talk, I was like, dang, I relate to that person. I relate to
Mhm.
that person. You know, the depression stuff, the alcoholism, um, suicidal thoughts, like all this stuff. And I'm like, man, I should be sharing this with somebody, and I do privately, like, a lot,
Yeah.
you know, if I want someone struggling or someone I know, like, I'm an open book, like, I don't have anything to hide, even my most shameful things, I'll share it with you if it's gonna help you push through,
Right.
um, because I know what vulnerability can do, it can make someone else vulnerable, and then once they get that off their chest, it could just make them free from it, man, so
Yeah.
yeah, to anyone out there that's struggling with, you know, feeling like that, man, just know that your testimony does matter, and you never know who you could impact. You
Right.
never know. You never know who's watching and who needs to hear a word, and you'll cross paths with that person when God, you know, when God wants you to, because I mean,
Yeah.
that's what happened.
Yeah, and it's crazy because sometimes I think that we get in the era that we are growing up in. I think we get caught up in the idea that if we don't see how our ministry is affecting
Yes.
people, we feel
Yes,
like it's
bro.
ineffective. And I've had so many conversations with my wife about that where I felt like giving up countless times. I can't even tell you how. I think I quit after every album that I put out. But you
For
know, I
sure.
but on the flip side, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten messages from people, telling me how much my music has ministered to them and how it's reached them in a dark place and things like that. And it's like I would never know that if they didn't tell me. So imagine how many more people you're reaching that you just don't know about because they didn't message you. So that I feel
Yes.
like that's a huge part of it. Like you need to share your testimony because you never know who it's going to reach, and they may not even tell you that it's reaching them, but if God is telling you to share, he has words that he wants to speak through you for somebody.
Absolutely, man, and I used to struggle with the whole numbers game
Mhm.
myself, like, you work hard on a song, you put it out, you get a couple maybe 100 views, couple 100 views,
Mhm.
and you're just like, "Ah, man, did it really?" But just think if you really touched 100 people, like, if you
Right.
really ministered to 100 different people,
Yep.
what that could and then if those 100 people went and touch somebody else and somebody else and it like you said, we'll never see the end of it, but God sees it and God knows. All we can
Right.
do is plant the seed, he can do the watering. And, you know, once I understood that, man, I said it, on a few episodes now that I don't know if it's because of my age now. I don't know if it's because 'cause
Mhm.
I'm getting old, I mean, older. But I've kinda really just stopped caring about certain things that I used to care about. I don't know if it's just maturity or growing in Christ, man, but it's
Yeah.
something. You know,
Yeah.
I don't stress about those things anymore. And you said something too. You said you were an overthinker, and I'm like,
Oh my
"Bro."
goodness.
I
Yes.
was like
Yes.
I remember you said that, and I was like, "Man, I
Mm.
gotta ask him about that too," because 'cause I'm very much an overthinker, and it's always hindered me as far especially, like, my processes, like, well, I could just put something out or I could just do something. I'm like, no,
Mhm.
because what if this, and this?" And I'm just always playing out scenarios and overthinking, and I
Mhm.
always thought it was just because I was the only child, but
Yeah.
how does that affect you in your
Yeah.
process and, like, what you doing?
No, I actually did a video about it a while ago where I
Yeah.
was saying that I think that overthinking has kept more seeds in my hand than I've actually planted in
Um,
the ground. And I'm a very observant person. So
yeah.
when I look at that, I feel like, okay, well, that actually could be a strategy of the enemy. Because if the devil can't get you to stop being productive, stop using your gift, stop walking in your calling, well, maybe he could just get you to second guess it, because if he can get you to second guess everything that you do, essentially you'll be ineffective. So maybe he can't get you to sin, right? Maybe he can't get you to do the things that you used to do. But if he can get you to second guess yourself at every turn, that'll prevent you from being effective at ministering to other people. Because before you go and say the things that God told you to say, you second guessing, you think, well, what if this happens? What if they perceive me this way? What if this goes wrong? And then next thing you know, you haven't done nothing. So
Oh,
essentially, you end up being the unfruitful servant just because you
well,
you were overthinking. And that was me for oh my goodness, that was me for so many years. So many years. So that I think that one of the biggest things that helped me get out of that was I think it was a quote from Myron Golden where he was
You
just saying like um eventually you got to get to a point where you become attached to the output, not the outcome, because you
Ooh,
can't control the outcome. So wisdom is understanding that you're responsible for what you can control. You're not responsible for what you can control. So I can't control the outcome. I can control my output, what I do. So if I become more attached to that than the other, then all of the unnecessary stress becomes irrelevant to me. I can't make 50,000 people hear my message. But if the Most High told me to say something, what I can control is my obedience in just saying it. As long as I say it, if the Lord told me to say it, as long as I say it, I did what I was supposed to do. If a bajillion people hear it or not, I can't control that. So if one person hears it and that's it, at the end of the day, I still did what the Lord told me to do. So I was still walking in obedience. So I can still have peace with that. You feel me? That's what helped me get free from that.
no, I get it, bro. That you mean you hit the nail on the head, bro. That I 100% agree. Just do it. Just do what's on your heart, what God puts on your heart, just do it. Just
Mhm.
don't question it. It may be something that you're not used to doing. Like I was an introvert. Like I wasn't the type to go on stage and minister and I remember when I used to perform, even the secular days, I would get so nervous. Like I was just ready to get on there. I wouldn't say nothing. I would just hold the mic and kinda like, "DJ, hurry up, like, play the
Yeah,
song." Like, I don't wanna sit here and
right.
then they have, like, a malfunction where they can't get the song, so I'm just sitting there like,
Oh, you just standing there. No.
crickets. Like, yeah, it was bad, man, 'cause I just wasn't used to it, man, and now you get up there and you're sharing a word, you're sharing testimonies, you're
Right.
doing what the spirit said, and I just said on a recent, interview too, where it's like I would, like, prepare. So, like, I wanna give a word. I know Imma have to, give a word, so I'm like, "Okay, Imma say this. Imma say this scripture, and Imma go off this." But then, like, right beforehand, I would
You would
say a
forget?
prayer and I would just it would be something else come to me, and I'd be like,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
"Okay, okay,
yeah.
I'll do that." And
Yep,
so
yep, yep.
everything that I was preparing for, like, I just did something different, totally different. It's like the spirit took over, and
Mhm.
even when, I felt like I didn't have something, I'm like, "What am I gonna say? What am I gonna do?" It's like it just comes to you, and then you read in the Bible that the Holy Spirit will help you. You don't need to prepare a word, like, the Holy Spirit will give you the words to say, and so once I saw that and once I experienced it, really, that's what really helped me. I don't really have that fright anymore of doing it.
Mhm.
And so it just took time, man. It just took God. Like all of this is God, bro, because I wouldn't be doing none of this if it wasn't for God. Like
Yeah.
music was always cool, but I had stopped that in 2018 because
Mhm.
I got too far. I was too far gone when I was secular. So I was like, you know what? I can't do what I was doing because I can't be a man of God. And
Right.
then when dad passed, I was like, I leaned on God so heavy. I was like, I want to do something, but what can I do, God? What can I do? And then music was like what I knew. So I was like, okay, but if I do it, I got to stay focused. And then that's
Mhm.
when the ministry came. And then, but I just still never thought I'd be ministering. I was like, okay, I'll make the gospel music, but that's all you're getting out of me.
Yeah.
And then it became more, and then you just wanna like, once you're on fire, bro, like, there's no stopping that, bro, like, you're
Yeah.
gonna do things that you didn't know you could do. Whether you're
Mhm.
introvert, overthinker or whatever, you're still gonna push
Mhm.
through it 'cause God's gonna be right there with you the every step of the way.
Right. Yeah, that's something that I think we all go through as
Yeah,
creatives. Because
bro.
I've heard a lot of people's testimony where they explain how we were once secular artists, and once we started our walk with the Lord, it became difficult to like continue doing the type of music that we used to make. So a lot of us just walked away from music completely. And then at
Mhm.
some point, the Lord calls you back and says, "Well, no, I don't want you to completely throw away the gift. I just want you to use it for my glory and for my kingdom." And for me, man, specifically, that was one of the hardest challenges I faced.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not even
remember you
gonna hold
said
you.
that.
I'm
I
not gonna hold
remember
you.
you
That was so hard because it's like I said, since I didn't grow up in church, and I kind of grew up in a family that low key had like a hostility towards religion. For
Yes.
me, it was very difficult to get to a point where I was comfortable doing gospel or Christian music because I had all of these thoughts in my head, like, my family's gonna look at me like a weirdo, and I was popping in the area that I grew up in. for secular music. So I'm like,
Man.
I can't go from being that to doing this. I don't want to
Yeah.
be dude, they gonna call me Kirk Franklin, they gonna try to play me. I'm like, I don't want to go out like that. I feel like we all go through that. But
Yeah, for
eventually,
sure.
after you wrestle with it for a while, it's like,
Mhm.
well, if the creator of the universe told me to go do something, what I'm gonna do? Say no,
Yep.
So it's like, all right, I'm gonna go, Lord. And reluctantly, I'm gonna go. You telling me to go do this, I'm gonna do this music. I don't know what it's gonna sound like, but I'm gonna do it. And then eventually we end up here.
Who is, like, your inspiration, like, for your sound, your style, your like, the way you write? Who are you listening to get you to how you do your songs now?
Okay, so that's interesting because this is kind of where I feel like my sound and like my story is kind of different because I grew up on Michael Jackson, right?
Mhm.
When I was 5 years old, Michael Jackson was the reason why I wanted to be an entertainer.
Wow.
I remember vividly. I would go to my grandma's house, and I'm the youngest. Like you say, you're an only child. I might
Mhm.
as well have been an only child because being the youngest, nobody wanted to be around you. Everybody wanted to
Oh,
go do
man.
their thing, so they always left me alone. So I
Yeah.
remember vividly when I was like 5 years old. I would go to my grandma's house. They would leave me in a room by myself, and my grandma had these tapes of Michael Jackson performing like concerts. I'm kidding not. It would be like a 2-hour concert. I would sit there and watch that tape over and over and over again. And watching Michael Jackson, it just made me want to be a performer. I don't know what it was. I just felt like what he's doing, I want to do that. And so as I got older, um I became fans of all of the people who were influenced by Michael. So I would say all of the sons of Michael. So Chris Brown, Usher,
Bro, yeah.
Omarion, Mario, Neo, all of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
guys,
Yep.
they were my favorite artists. Those were the guys.
Right.
If they sung and danced, those were the people who I listened to. And I like I said, I come from a musical family. So my dad was actually an R&B producer, and my mom
Oh,
was a
wow.
dancer. So essentially it was in my blood. My
Yeah.
mom being a dancer, she used to make choreography for my sister's music videos. So for me, that's what shaped my musical like style and the genre that I liked, and everything that I listened to. And when I became a believer, it was like, since I didn't grow up on gospel music, I didn't really know how to make gospel music. Like till this day, I
Man.
don't really know how to make a traditional gospel song. I just don't know how. Because I've heard people say, okay, when you become a Christian artist, you need to make sure that you're separate from the world and don't be like the world, and et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. And I do agree with
Right.
that. But sometimes I feel like what they mean is that you need to have a traditional gospel sound, and like for somebody like me, I don't even know how to make a traditional gospel sound. Like
Man.
I grew up on only hip hop and R&B. That's all I know how to write. I don't know how to write
Yes.
traditional gospel. So to answer your question, basically all of the R&B stuff that I grew up on shaped the way that I felt like I could write as far as like stylistically. But Jonathan McReynolds actually was the biggest inspiration that I had as far as like what direction I went in writing, because something about Jonathan McReynolds that stuck out to me was his writing always seemed like it came from an honest place that I never heard before from gospel artists. Like from gospel artists, in my perspective, just my opinion, I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
felt like gospel artists talked about the goodness of God. And
Mhm.
they pretty much started at the beginning. Okay, I was in sin, and then God saved me, and everything went great after that. And it felt like it didn't feel like it was like enough of the story in there. Where Jonathan McReynolds, when I first heard his music, it felt like he would talk about his struggles, and how God would deliver him from those things, and how he would need God to deliver him from those things. So that actually informed the way that I write now. You know what I mean? Because to me, I feel like, yes, you need to get to the goodness of God, but you also need to start at a place where people are right now, where they're struggling, and show them that God will get them from there to here. You know what I'm saying? So I know I'm being long winded, but I hope that answers your question.
No, absolutely, bro, and shoot, I don't think I knew any gospel songs, bro. I knew hymns,
Mhm.
just from being in a Baptist church, but I don't remember knowing any gospel songs until, like, 7 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like literal like, actual gospel songs that weren't church songs, like
Mhm.
I don't think I bro, 'cause I didn't grow up on it, like, my parents didn't listen to gospel.
Right.
My grandparents probably listened to hymns, you know, they didn't listen to, like, gospel music.
Mhm.
So I didn't know anything, like, and then once I started listening to it, like, I fell in love with, like, Nicole C. Mullen, her catalog. Um, I listened to her she's probably the only artist I listened to for a whole year
Mm.
and over and over. And I just started going down the list, and the same thing when I came to CHH, man, like, I didn't know anybody. I knew Lecrae,
Right.
who he
Yeah.
was, but I didn't know his catalog. I knew background, and that's it, and
Mhm.
that was off Rehab, which was
Yeah.
probably early as, like, 2010 era, because I remember that's when I first heard it.
Mhm.
But that's it. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know anything, bro, so all this was new to me. I went through catalog upon catalog, artist to artist, like and so I was so excited when I came in, bro, because it was like a whole new world for me. It was like, "Oh, what is this?" Like,
Yeah.
I was in a Willy Wonka's chocolate factory or something. Like, it was just amazing. This is a whole new world for me, man. But I didn't grow up on any of that. I knew 90s R&B. I knew 80s R&B. I'm an old soul too. Like,
Yeah.
my favorite song is Sam Cooke, "A Change Gonna Come." Like, that's my
Oh,
favorite.
that's funny.
If you looked at me, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
That's why I
I
say
am
that's
an
funny. I wouldn't have
I'm an
guessed that.
old I'm an old soul, bro. Luther Vandross and, like, in my car like, if you cut that on, like, I know word for word, and people just look at me like I'm
That's fire.
crazy. It's so funny, 'cause I'll be
That's
at
funny.
work, and I was at work one day, and they're like, "What you know about that?" And I was like, "Everything. I know everything about that. I know
They
everything,
was trying to play you.
and
What
they
you
would
know
play
about
song
that?
after song, and I'm knowing all of them. They're just like, "You?" Like, "Yeah, I
You
don't."
yeah, me.
Yeah. That's what I
Perfect.
like, that's all I listen to, bro. I was hardly listening to rap, unless it
Yeah.
was like a R&B, like a remix, like something like
Mhm.
that, but that's it, bro. But yeah, like, I've always been an old soul, always been an R&B fan.
Mhm.
Um, not so much even now, like, if I was in my car right now, I guarantee you well, my kids are in the car, so we're probably listening to, like, some Forrest Frank, some Jimmy Moore, some, you know, so I had to throw you in there. But,
That's
like,
alright.
we're listening to some, like, Christian, R&B or, you know, that type of music, worship music.
Yeah.
I even listen to Oasis, and they're Spanish.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I
Yeah.
listen to Oasis Ministry, and primarily their music is in Spanish, but
Mhm.
it's just something about it, bro. It's just
You can feel
so
it.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
and they have English versions, but,
Yeah.
like, I'm
Yeah.
always listening to the Spanish version. But,
Mhm.
and you have a guy, your right-hand man, Chris Adams, and I
Mhm.
know what that's like to have that guy, that guy you go to, that guy that he does everything, you do every what is y'all's relationship like, and why do you feel like y'all work so good together?
Yeah, see, Chris actually produced, I wanna say, one of my first, gospel R&B records, and that
Right.
was how we met each other. I do all my features through Sound Better, and that was actually how I met Chris.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah,
I wanna
that's how I got
say I don't know if it was Change Me? I don't remember which record it was, but I had a song years ago, and I was looking for somebody to produce it, and I went on Sound Better looking for producers, but I specifically wanted somebody that had history, like, in gospel or at least was a believer.
Mhm.
And so when I found Chris, I'm like, "Yo, it seemed like this guy is the perfect fit for what I'm trying to do." So I sent him the record, he made it, and afterwards, I went back to him again, and after that, he was just like, "Yo, like, we need to do a project together." And I'm like, "Yo, that would be perfect because, I was just thinking about quitting." You know? And now you saying like, "Yo," because when he told me, he was saying like, "Yo, I don't know if this is gonna sound crazy, but I feel like the Lord is telling me to do a project with you." And it was wild because I was thinking about asking him about doing a project, but I was on the fence about giving everything up. Cause like I said, I'm joking, but I'm serious. Like after every
Yeah,
album, I think about quitting because it's
yeah,
just so mentally exhausting. And
yeah,
I've had so many thoughts about like, am I doing all of this in vain? Because I don't even know if anybody's listening. So I was
right,
in that place at that moment. And when he hit me up, I'm like, yo, this must be God. Cause I'm sitting here thinking about throwing the towel in. My homie is telling me, yo, you can't be an unfruitful servant. Like if the Lord gave you the gift, like you got to use it. And then Chris hits me up randomly, like, yo, I believe that the Lord is telling me that we should do a project together. So I'm like, all right, this is clearly the hand of God. And he clearly spoke to you because I was just about to throw the towel in. And so after that, man, we have just been like working together on everything. And more importantly than the music, Chris is a good guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's a lot of people in this industry that you will meet that they're either fake or they're snakes. Like I know you have run into some of the same issues I've run into with people. So it's like it's kind of disheartening when you run into some of the people in the Christian music industry and in the secular music industry, but that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So
Everywhere.
meeting
Yep.
somebody like Chris, who's like genuinely a good guy, I
Mhm.
appreciate that. And I feel like that's one of the things that keeps me going because it's like the people that you can deal with in this industry, it can be exhausting. It can make you just want to not even do it at all, you know? So Chris, I feel like Chris is the type of person that'll motivate you and to keep you going when you feel like giving up. He's like, nah, 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 you're not quitting. What we doing? What we doing? You know? And so I appreciate that. But Chris, he's basically like a big brother to me now, you know, because we have been working for years now. And just on a personal level, our friendship is real strong because to me, I look at Chris like a big brother. Chris has been there at times when I've wanted to give up, and he has let me know, like, listen, man, you got something special. You got a calling on your life, and you got a big gift. Like I've never seen some of the responses that I've seen to the way that people gravitate to you and your music. Like you gotta do this. And so I want to give Chris his flowers. If you watching Chris, thank you, bro. But you already know because I say thank you all the time. But yeah, so that's pretty much me and Chris's story. And we're working on this new album. It's coming. It's taking a little while because I'm mixing a lot of it, but it's definitely coming.
Nice. Well, we definitely need to get one in, all 3 of us. That would be
Oh yeah,
that's my
yeah,
that'd be next goal. Like, that would be awesome, bro. But it's good to
yeah,
see that, bro. Yeah, and like you said, it's hard to find good, genuine people, so I don't take it lightly. Like, when I meet
yeah.
someone like yourself, like, it wasn't just one song. We've done one song, and it's been almost 2 years now since we first
Hmm.
tapped in, and we're
Yeah.
still have a relationship. We still can text. I mean, I'll
Right.
come through for you if I can. So,
Hmm.
like, bro, like, that right there, I don't take it lightly at all
Hmm.
because there are some situations like, hey, you did business with someone or whatever, and then you're done. You probably never talk to them again, or,
Yeah.
you can kinda tell. I feel like you can tell, especially I know I can now, especially I've worked with a lot of people. Like, I can tell if it's gonna be genuine, if this is gonna be something that's long lasting, or if it's just a one and done type of thing.
Yeah.
Um and I felt like when I met you and when we actually got to talk, because I think we went through Sound Better, so it wasn't like I had a relationship with you at the time,
Hmm.
but I just kept you in the loop, and then I was like, "Hey, this is what's happening with the song. Hey, this is what I'm working on. I'm trying, bro. I'm doing this,
Right.
this, and
Right.
this." And then
Yeah.
like, I think we were relate so well together, man. And then you moved to Texas, but then you left me,
Oh
so,
my goodness.
you know
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Yo, bro, Texas was a crazy experience. I feel like I just moved to the wrong part, you know, and and not only that, like we've had conversations about it. I think it was the job too, but we don't have to get into that on the pod.
Yeah.
But that it was the season of life that I was going through. That was insane. Insane. But yeah, I would like to give Texas another try someday. I just wouldn't move to the same part because that was a bit rough.
That was so funny. I had to bring that up, bro. 'Cause I remember when you came, I was so excited. I was like, "Oh, man, we about to do crazy work in. We about to do
Yeah,
music videos. We about
we
to do
about to
all this
lock
stuff."
in.
And then he was like, "Yeah, I'm out, bro. I'm headed back to North Carolina." I'm like, "What? Wait a minute. You just got here. Like,
You just got here.
you
Yeah,
just got
no,
here."
man. Grand opening, grand closing, okay?
Great. Wow. How long
Yeah,
were you
no,
were you
that's
here?
it.
How long? Couple months?
I was here, I say here, I
There.
was in Texas for a year. Yeah.
Oh, it was a year. Okay.
Mhm. Only
Dang.
1 year, as soon as my lease was up, we was gone. It was a lot, but I feel like that season that I was going through in life, I was just life was lifing, you know, so it was just too much for me, and I felt like, "Alright, I just need to go back home. I need to regroup, get my life together, and then get back on my
Mhm.
feet, and then whatever happens from there, I can go from there," you know, but that was just a rough season in my life, though. So,
I get it,
I
bro.
don't
Now
even
you
know.
got you gotta do what's best for you and your family, bro. You gotta do what God tells you to do.
Yeah.
How you been? You been good ever since, though? You feel like you made the right decision?
Well, the thing is, when I originally left Texas, I wouldn't say that that difficult season was over because when I moved back to the East Coast, I was still going through a lot, and me and you talked about that privately. So I
You
was
did.
still going through a lot afterwards, But I want to say like maybe 6 months later, things started to smooth back out. I got back on my feet. Me and my family got our things together. So I would say that I'm in a much better place now. But that was a rough, rough season. The thing is, I don't I'm not upset that I went through as much as I did back then
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I know that it was all for a purpose and it strengthened my faith. And somebody actually reached out to me and was saying like, "Yo, I listened to your album, talking about Never Alone, and like I want to say whatever you went through in that season that made you write that album, I'm
Man.
sure that it was difficult, but at the same time, I'm grateful for it because sometimes in the most difficult seasons, you produce your best work." And I definitely believe that to be true because I definitely think that that album it definitely displayed what I was going through. Like, what do I do now? That was that was such a hard time in my life, but that's like my number one streaming song because
Yes.
so many
Oh, that
people
song.
could relate to it. You know, so I want to encourage you and anybody listening. Sometimes the season that you're going through, God, once He brings you on the other side of it, the testimony that you share through it may be for someone else who's going through it. Because when I wrote that song, I was it was rough, bro. It was rough. But like I said, that ended up being my number one song. So I don't regret it. It was a lot, but I don't
Absolutely.
regret it.
So we gonna call this segment one more time
Okay.
because his name is Jimmy Moore. So one more time. Uh, all right. So this is gonna be like rapid fire. You can answer one word. You can explain. You can do whatever you want. It's gonna be
Please
short.
don't get me in trouble, okay?
No, it's not gonna get you in trouble. I promise. I
Okay,
do that
okay,
on
okay.
purpose. I do that on purpose.
Okay. Okay.
Rapping or singing,
Singing.
singing or dancing.
What? Singing now. If when I was
Singing.
19, I would say dancing. People actually don't know that I know how to dance, but singing now.
Okay. North Carolina or Texas.
If I say North Carolina, you're gonna beat me up. If I say Texas, Chris is gonna beat me up. So I'm gonna say both.
I had to ask that one after, especially after the last that was the last question.
Yeah.
Instagram or TikTok?
TikTok. I'm
Yeah.
actually considering stop posting on Instagram, but that's a different story.
I remember I had to convince you to stay on there at one point. I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
"No,
you
bro."
talked me off
Yeah.
the ledge. I was like, that's it. I'm done with Instagram.
"No, bro, don't jump. Don't jump." No, I gave you a good reason why, how you
Yeah,
that's how we kinda tap in with other people, and I don't know.
yeah,
I don't feel like TikTok is really a place. I mean, you can inbox on there, you can kinda, but
yeah.
I don't know. I get your reason for
The
Tik
reach, man, the reach. It's just
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Instagram, the reach don't be reaching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
So
everybody's problem on Instagram right now.
it is. It is.
Gospel rap or gospel R&B?
Gospel R&B, definitely. When I first discovered gospel R&B, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what is this? Where has this been for the last 10 years? Okay. I'm sorry, keep
Who
going.
who's your artist that you
My
listen to?
favorite my favorite Christian R&B artist is Sajay. You know who Sajay is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is my definitely my favorite artist, definitely. So, Sajay, if you watching this interview, please hit me up. If you need a feature, I got you.
Hit 'em up. Imma send it to her anyways.
Yeah,
Um,
send it to
this might answer that question, but dream collab that hasn't happened yet. Someone
definitely
you
her.
work.
Either okay, so female artist, it would be Sajay. Male artist, it would be Jonathan McReynolds.
Okay.
Definitely. Cause
And
cause I feel like the Jonathan McReynolds writing is what like influenced me to make the type of music I make now.
yeah. Yeah, it's good. See, if you had told me those names before, I'd been like, "Who?" But now that I'm tapped in, I know both of those artists, and
Right.
both of them I listen to regularly too, so
Yeah.
I think I've reached out to both of them and before, but, I think I've talked to her in comments before too. Um, if someone who had never heard your music before had time to listen to one song, what song are you playing for 'em?
That is so hard. It will probably be Just the Beginning. Just the Beginning is a very positive song, and
Yeah,
I feel like most people, it doesn't matter what their favorite musical style is. I feel like most people like that song, so it would be Just the Beginning.
I like that song. That's one of my
Thank you.
favorites too. I still think Jesus, um oh, that's tough. Jesus sticks with me because it's the first song I ever heard from you, and
Yeah.
I remember playing that song because you hadn't released the EP yet, I don't think, when I heard it. I think it was just
Mhm.
like, you had a few things before that, but Jesus was,
Yeah.
like, your top song at the time, and so I
Yeah.
probably played that on repeat for weeks on weeks in the
Thank you.
car, bro. Yeah, so a lot of the streams, you got it from me. Um,
Thank you. Yeah, that was my favorite song from that album, so I
yeah.
appreciate that.
What is the your most underrated song that you feel like doesn't get the credit that it deserves, or maybe, like, the content didn't blow it up or whatever?
That's a hard question. Um,
'Cause I feel like we all have that song that means more to us,
than
like
it
Your
does
Holy
to
Name,
other
bro, like,
people.
that
Yeah.
song means more to me than anything, I've told you that.
I think "Lost at Sea" is my most underrated song, and the
Okay.
reason why I say that is because that song felt I felt that song the strongest, like, out of all of the songs that I had made previously, but, I also felt like my writing got better, but it for some reason, the song didn't go as far as, like, some of my other songs did. So I think "Lost at Sea" is my most underrated song, in my opinion, because
Yeah.
everybody's different.
And bonus question, man, because I know he meant a lot to you and he meant a lot to me as well, but Vody Bokum, what did he mean to you, and what is something he inspired you to do as far as your ministry?
Man, man, I think that caught me off guard, actually. Vody was the type of pastor that I would watch every weekend. And like Vody was the type of pastor that I would watch, like even before going to church, I would watch a sermon from Vody because I just felt like he broke down the gospel in a way that I had never heard it broken down before. And he explained things in so much detail that I really appreciated it, especially because like I feel like I'm kind of a nerd theologically. And Vody, I felt like he he was not afraid to break down things and no matter how long it took. Um, and he was very brave and courageous. Vody would say something that he knew would get him canceled, but if he felt like he was standing on the truth and standing on the word, he would say it and he would say, "This is what it is," and the word of God says this, so it doesn't matter what the culture says. And I really appreciated that because we live in a time right now where people tend to try to say what they think is going to be the most popular, not the most biblical. And I want to shy away from that. So I definitely would say that that's something that I learned from Bodie.
Absolutely, man. And when I was coming back into the faith, like, he was someone I used to, because I was working overnight, and so I would cut on my I put on my headphones and cut on YouTube, and he was one of the ones I would listen to on a nightly basis as well, man. And all these sermons are new to me, like, and now I haven't listened to them in a while, so it's gonna be like they're new to me again probably if I go listen to them. So that's
Mhm.
great. But I listened to him so much that I would know the sermons. Like, I listened to him
Yeah.
and, a lot of others, but man, when I saw that he passed, bro, like, it hit
Yeah,
me,
that broke my heart,
really
man.
did. But
Yeah.
it wasn't in vain, man. He's left so much for us here,
Yeah.
and his words, will live on forever, and I
Mhm.
hope it continues to impact the world, man. But
Definitely.
man, before I let you go, bro, what is one Bible verse that keeps you going or that's near and dear to your heart that you like to share with others?
Man, that's a hard question.
I don't try
Oh
to
my
ask hard
goodness. I
questions.
got stuff I got stuff written all over my wall here. I'm trying to look for something. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the scripture that I shared earlier. Matthew 11:28 and 29, it says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls." I would say that is one of the most foundational scriptures that I've ever read. And I think that at the time that I was going through in my life when the Lord was calling me, that scripture it almost reached out and pulled me onto the page. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Amen, bro. Absolutely. Hey, thank y'all for watching, man. Like I said, go check out his music. Go check out his new album, man. You will not be sorry. I promise you. He will
Thank
become
you.
one of your favorite artists instantly.
Thank you.
And man, we gotta get some more work in soon. Maybe you'll be the one to light that fire in me, bro. And I'll get back
Definitely.
on it, bro. Because like I said, I need that R&B magic in my life. I need that,
Yeah.
that worship music in my life. I always say rapping is cool, but if it was up to me, bro, I would just drop every song with a singer. Like, I would
Mhm.
drop every song would be a worship song, and that's what I
Yeah.
used to do, man. So, if I gotta get back to doing that, hey, I'm all for it. So, hey, thank y'all for watching. Stay focused, and God bless y'all.